This is something that we covered before. There was the murder of the Tory MP Sir David Amess, and the man who actually did it has now been found guilty. Because I mean, you know, I would genuinely be surprised if he wasn't. I mean, he walked into a building in front of absolutely everyone and then was arrested with a knife still in his hand. I'd have been pretty fucking shocked if he wasn't found guilty. An Islamic State fanatic has been found guilty of murdering Sir David Amess MP. The Southend West MP was stabbed more than 20 times during a constituency surgery in Leigh-on-Sea, Essex, on the 15th of October 2021. A jury at the Old Bailey took just 18 minutes to convict Ali Harbi Ali of murder and preparing acts of terrorism. The 26-year-old from Kentish Town, North London, had denied the charges and claimed he targeted the MP over his vote for airstrikes on Syria. Sir David's family sat in the court just a short distance from Ali as the verdicts were delivered. The judge, Mr. Justice Sweeney, said Ali, who refused to stand up in the dock on religious grounds as the guilty verdicts were returned, will be sentenced on Wednesday. Before being sent out, the judge told the jury that the defendant had no legal defence for the killing of the Conservative MP, so it seems that they didn't even try to actually make a defence. Following the verdicts, Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted that Sir David was a beloved colleague, public servant, and friend, adding that his thoughts were with his family. The killer stabbed Sir David 69 after tricking his way into a meeting by pretending to be an NHS employee moving to the area. During the trial, jurors heard how prior to the attack he had also scoped out and planned attacks on other MPs, including Cabinet Minister Michael Gove, who he believed was a harm to Muslims. He drew up plans to get close to the Levelling Up Secretary, which he abandoned after he split from his wife and left the family home, the jury heard. Because one of the things as well, by the way, is see if you are an MP, Member of Parliament, or working in government or running in an election of any kind, your home address is public knowledge. That's something that you have to put in. When I ran for the Libertarian Party or whenever I ran for UKIP, the address that I put down was the headquarters of the party address, which I don't know why it's a rule. I have no fucking clue. But I mean, if you've just got to submit your address to run in an election, then yeah, that's fine. But then to have it be made public information, that is extremely dangerous. That shit after Joe Cox, that's when that shit should have stopped. Uh, Pardon. The court heard the defendant was still determined to carry out an attack and scouted the office of Finchley MP Mike Freer and carried out online research on other MPs, including Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer. He chose Sir David after a search on Twitter showed he was due to hold a constituency surgery, the court was told. The trial heard Ali was a model student. He a good boy. He a good boy. He didn't do nothing. But had become self radicalised in 2014, dropping out of university and abandoning ambitions of a medical career. The Metropolitan Police confirmed that between 2014 and 2015, Ali had some kind of engagement with the counter radicalisation scheme Prevent. This is the thing where they put in young far righters and young Islamists all together in the same room, telling them all why radicalisation is bad. A lot of them use it for networking, by the way. Did you know that? He told her, "Oh, look, I'm in a room with a bunch of people that think just like me. Maybe after this, maybe we'll exchange Discord usernames." Uh, he told his trial he was booked to meet a man from the Home Office in Brixton, South London, who talked to him about the true meaning of Islamic theology. But it has not been established whether Ali was given the all clear by Prevent bosses or if he walked away refusing to cooperate. In evidence, Ali told the court he wanted to travel to Syria to join the Islamic State, but it was too difficult, so he decided to help Muslims here instead. Yeah, that's what you just did definitely helped Muslims. People must be thinking so highly of them right now. He said he had no regrets or shame about killing Sir David, telling the court, "If I thought I did anything wrong, I wouldn't have done it." Ali said, "I felt like one minute I was sat down at the table talking to him, and the next he was sort of dead. He was just sort of dead. But yeah, it's probably one of the strangest days of my life, you know?" Aye. The court heard the defendant had planned to die as a martyr, assuming he would be shot by the police. British police. They're fucking pussies when it comes to like actual violent crimes. I mean, if you tweeted something spicy, fucking hell, they would have turned up with the SWAT team. Kill an MP, yeah, no, not so much. After the stabbing, witnesses described how the killer waved the knife around and threatened Sir David's staff and members of the public. He was detained by two plainclothes police officers from Essex Police, the first on the scene, who were armed only with batons and incapacitant spray. Just call it fucking like it's pepper spray. Just call it what it is. In video shown to the jury, officers were heard shouting, "Drop the knife," while the defendant was on the phone to his sister. He told jurors he dropped the weapon when he realised the officers, PC Ryan Curtis and PC Scott James, were unarmed. Both officers have received Essex Police's highest accolade, the Merit Star, for their bravery. Recalling when they arrived at the scene, PC James said, "We couldn't stand outside if there was a chance of that other people were getting attacked, and we also wanted to get paramedics inside the building as soon as possible. Our biggest fear that day was that there were other defenceless people inside with Sir David waiting for the police to come through the door. So any fears we had were put to one side." PC Curtis said, "We only wish we could have done more, and we continue to think of both Sir David and his family." Detective Chief Superintendent Dominic Murphy, head of operations for the Met Police's Counter-Terrorism Command, said, "Sir David's family have been left utterly devastated, but they have shown remarkable courage and dignity throughout the investigation and this trial. Following the murder, our officers worked extremely hard and at pace to firstly ensure there were no existing threat linked to the attacker, and then to put together a compelling package of evidence which showed his extremist mindset and the lens he went to in order to plan and commit the attack." Sir David was killed 5 years after Batley and Spen MP Jo Cox was murdered in her constituency. Responding to Monday's guilty verdicts, her widower, Brendan Cox, said on Twitter, "The terrorists will rot in jail and die in ignominy." Ignominy. Fucking hell, man. That's hard to say with a Scottish accent. David's name will be remembered, especially by the people of Southend who he served. Now, again, like I've said before, this is something I know I realise that everyone's like, "Oh no, information should be free" and all that type of stuff as well. However, like MPs are a target. MPs are a target, right? And I'm not going to say where I live, but my local MP just fucking sits in their office, right? Sometimes you can see her in the fucking window, right? Which is why I'm not going to say where I live, but you could just walk right in there, right? That's all I'm saying, right? And I don't like that. Now, I understand that MPs are dedicated to, doesn't matter what party you're from, they're from a party I definitely don't fucking like. But them actually being there, visible to the public, willing to talk to people coming in off the street so they can hear their concerns and then promptly fucking ignore all of them. I still have a respect for that because they want to be visible to the public, they want to be seen as doing their job, they want to be seen as helping, even though they're not. But you know, they're still out there with their boots on the ground. I respect that, right? I understand that. However, right, I don't care what party you're from, right? One of the parties that I hate most out of all of them is the SNP. I despise them. I hate them. I think they're an absolute cancer on this country. Do I want any of them fucking killed? No, that's fucking horrendous, right? So, which is why I think, see, having addresses like made public, see how things that they do in Parliament, then yeah, whatever, have that public, but see where they live, known places that they hang out, like bars or restaurants or anything like that, or even where their family live, like that. I'm sorry, that should not be public record. That should not be public record. It's not relevant to the political process to know well and out. Oh, but they might have a great big fancy house. They're a politician. They've got a big fancy fucking house. You don't need an address to know that, right? So that's why I just think that politicians' addresses, this whole, oh, if you want to run in an election, you must submit an address and then that address will be made public record. There's also things like the voters roll as well, where you can just search somebody's name and find where they fucking live, right? Anybody can fucking do it. It's how so many people in Britain have got doxxed and all that. Not me, though. I managed to get my name stripped off it due to extenuating circumstances. That happened back at Nazi Punk. But again, like, the addresses are not relevant to the political process. And basically, the guy managed to find Jo Cox's address, and look what fucking happened. And this guy managed to find where Sir David Amess was going to be, and look what fucking happened. So, yeah, politicians' addresses should not be public record.